Hello everyone and welcome to this short video. This is Jones Chase's A to Z of employment law, and today I'm dealing with the letter V, which is about the Vento guidelines. You may have heard the expression, but what does it mean when somebody mentions the Vento Bands? The Vento guidelines used for injury to feelings compensation awards are not always well understood. Unlike unfair dismissal compensation, which is limited to financial loss, discrimination compensation can also cover non-financial losses based on the perceived hurt caused. In most cases, this will include an injury to feelings award, which can be made on the following types of claims. Number one, discrimination based on a protected characteristic, such as race, sex, or age. Number two, victimization. And number three, whistleblowing. An injury to feelings award can be as a result of the hurt and distress an individual has suffered as a consequence of their employer's discriminatory action against them. Importantly, when an individual makes a claim against an employer, which could result in an injury to feelings award, it can sometimes be made against individuals who committed the acts of discrimination. The expression Vento Bands came from the 2002 case of Chief Constable of West Yorkshire and Vento. The judgment of the case produced the now famous guidance in the form of 3 broad bands of compensation for injury to feelings which were distinct from psychiatric or similar personal injury. When the bands were first introduced, they were less than half of these amounts, but due to inflation and other factors, they have increased to the following from 6th of April 2023. The lower band is £1,100 to £11,200. The middle band is £11,200 to £33,700. The upper band is £33,700 to £56,200 and over £56,200 in the most exceptional cases. So what is the difference between the bands, and how do you know which band your case will fall into? The lower band is for less serious cases, such as where the act of discrimination is an isolated or one-off occurrence. An example of this is the case of Sawyers and East Suffolk and North Essex NHS Foundation Trust from 2020. In this case, a more junior and younger member of staff was subjected to harassment by an older and more senior member of staff. The respondent's reluctance to treat the claimant's complaint as a formal one and subject this more senior employee to a possible disciplinary action was subconscious rather than deliberate or overt motivation. As a result, the claimant was awarded £3,000 plus interest for injury to feelings. The middle band of the Vento guidelines is for more serious cases, but which do not merit an award in the highest band. An example of this is the case of Sahin and Tower Hamlets GP Care Group from 2019. Miss Sahin, who was disabled, raised a grievance about the treatment she was receiving at work and as a result was victimised by the company. She was forced to carry out administrative work within a specific time slot, and the employer also failed to make reasonable adjustments to accommodate her disability. Due to the employer's treatment, Miss Sahin's symptoms of her disability worsened significantly and was still receiving psychiatric treatment 20 months later. Miss Sahin received £20,000 for injury to feelings. The higher band is for the most serious cases. An example of this is the case of Henderson and Asda Stores 2019. Mrs. Henderson was subjected to a lengthy campaign of harassment over 14 months by 2 store managers. The majority of the harassment was her being singled out and spoken to in a demeaning and disrespectful manner because English was not her first language. She was also not invited to social events or team meetings. It resulted in Mrs. Henderson being unable to work and receiving medication. She was awarded £40,000 for injury to feelings plus interest. The tribunal concluded that her mental state arose directly and naturally from the unlawful acts of discrimination, namely the most serious and lengthy campaign of harassment. As lawyers, regardless of which side we are representing, we are always interested in trying to work out the particular Vento bands that any claim is likely to fall within. If we are acting for the claimant, then we are always trying to push for any injury to feelings compensation to be within one of the higher bands, and for the employers, we are always aiming to reduce the risk of a large compensatory payout by arguing for a lower band. We examine the exact nature of the ill treatment suffered and engage in a careful analysis of case law to make our determination. I hope that you have found this video helpful, and if you have any questions or would like to discuss the areas I've talked about, please contact the Jones Chase team on 0203 837 9914 or visit joneschase.com. We would love to help you, and I hope that you have enjoyed this video.